Okay, I'm in the home stretch now on my side vise project. You can tell that I'm in the home stretch because my workshop is a total disaster. Everything's everywhere. Okay, the glue on these has set up overnight and brought it out here to my workshop to get ready to put some screws into the holes to hold it on. I'm just going to snug those in for now. I don't want to put too much pressure on it. The longer this glue has to dry, the harder it becomes. So it'll become just as hard as the wood behind here almost after a while. But I'm going to give it a few more days for that. In the meantime, I'm going to put the screws in. I've already pre-drilled the holes here. I'm going to put the screws in, just snugging them up. Like I say, I'm not going crazy. Just snugging them up. This impact driver is just about worn out, so that's the reason why it's banging a lot. And it's just like that. I'll drill the holes over here and put the other 4 screws in. Alright, so I didn't clean this up much because that's too boring. I don't want to move ahead right now. What I did do was I assembled the jaw section to the fixed jaw with the screws, and I put a little Vaseline in the holes. Vaseline is great stuff for this kind of thing. Like, I use it for drawer slides. Any moving parts in the workshop, I don't use wax, I use Vaseline. And the reason for that is it stays slicker. Wax has that second where it sticks before it starts to move, and then it moves really good. But Vaseline's, that's not the case. Now, I'm not going to do my cast iron table saw top with Vaseline, but you get my meaning for mechanical parts. I also assembled the lead screw with the plate here. I put the big nut on, and I put some Vaseline inside here too, and on the face. I would normally use a washer here for this, between the nut and the plate, but I had to go to one place for the rod and another place for the nut, and in neither one, and another place separately, I couldn't find a washer, a 1-inch washer. So it'll work without it. It's not going to be a high stress area. It's just pushing the job back on the return stroke. So that's that. That's put together. What I'm getting ready to do is drill a hole through the nut. Now that it's in position and the thing turns freely, rather than put another nut on here, because that would stick out past the jaw, I'm going to just put a pin through. In this case, I'm just going to use a nail. I'm going to drill a hole through and use the nail and bend it over, hillbilly style. You could use a cotter pin, but I don't have any of those, so I'm not going to. So move that back out of the way, and I'll position this so you can see what I'm doing. I thought it would be interesting for some. Make sure the view is good. I got a 9/32 inch bit. The fact is, it's just a little bit bigger than the nail. It could be bigger than that even. Doesn't matter. But this is what I had, and it seems to be sharp. So I'm just going to put a little Vaseline on this too to get it lubed up, and roughly the center. We started. Putting on pretty good pressure, and you know you're cutting well when you see ribbons of steel coming off. like that, instead of chips. Loosen up my drill a little bit, but what happened there was it went through this side of the nut. I'm through the side of the nut already, so now I'm going to start drilling into the rod. You'll know this because it'll feel different and it'll sound different. So you have to be careful here, or you'll break the bit. Just go slow and get it started. When it starts to cut, then you can put the pressure on. I think the rod is a lot harder than the nut certainly seems to be. I'm making my way through. I'm going to move the bit down a bit. The idea is that you want to be able to get right through. It looks like this might be long enough. A little more lube on there. It doesn't matter if it's exactly straight. You don't have to do this on a drill press. You can do this by hand, as long as you're roughly going through straight. The point is that you get a nail through the rod, through the nut and through the rod, to stop it from turning. Now, it just changed sound a little bit. That means that I'm getting close to the other side. So I'm not going to put as much pressure on anymore, because if you keep pushing, what will happen is it'll break through the other side, it'll come up against the other side of the nut, and more than likely the bit will break. So let's pull it out, a little more lube in there, go in, just go slow, gentle. If you think it's going slow, I might actually be into the nut by now. I'm not certain. How far down am I? I think I'm actually into the nut. It's better to go slow and not break the bit, as opposed to breaking the bit. It's a real nightmare to try to get this out of that hole. You can't drill it. You have to punch it out. I'm right through the other side. You can see it's not 100% straight, but it works. So let's wipe that off. You know, I do this stuff on top of my table, so I really shouldn't be, but so I'll push my nail through like that, and I'll just bend it over, wrap it right around the nut. The beauty of this is that I don't have to worry about getting it off. The next time, all I need to do is get in there with the grinder, cut the nail off, and take it off. Unscrew the nut. And that should do it. That's it. Okay, I've spread the jaws here so that the rod will go in. I'll just push it in the rest of the way. I've got a little mark on here to show which end was up when I marked out these holes, because when you drill out these holes to begin with, they're never 100% accurate, so it's best to keep everything oriented. Let's put that in, and change my bit, and screw in. Anyway, the jaw is still open. I'll pull it back. You can see it works really well. Look at that. This is, honestly, this is my first time trying it. So, you're seeing it for the first time, I'm seeing it for the first time. Look at that, that's beautiful. I'm pretty close to getting near the end of construction on this vise, and the steps after that will be to mount it on the table and then finish up the other things like the jaws and some of the other finer points like putting the handle on. Before I mount it on the table, I need to make some guide blocks for these guide bars, and they'll bolt to the bottom of the table. I'll actually screw those on with 3-inch screws, and what they'll do is they'll keep these rods as straight as possible. Now, these have to be level with the top of this, and I went ahead and I made these blocks, and I reamed out the holes with the sander, with the spindle sander, big enough for them to slide through easily, both of them. And right now they're a little bit higher than what they need to be. So the easiest way to get these down is to set a stick on top of here like this, a nice straight piece of wood, and then check your gap. And then take a little bit off each one and check it again until you get it down until it's flat and level with the top of this.